Join me today as we put some of the baseboard trim on the bottom floor of the dollhouse. We add the stairs and we add a wall that we create. Stay tuned and see how easy this was to do. Well, before we start putting the baseboard molding on the lower floor of the dollhouse, I want to do a few things like install the stairs, because I want to butt the baseboard molding up against the bottom of the stairs so it looks more realistic. There's a few other things we need to put in too. So we're going to start because this set of stairs comes in two pieces. So the first job was to figure out which was the top piece, because you got to glue them together and you got to have them in the right order. Well, the big giveaway is this is the top step when it comes up at this angle. This one doesn't have that. So that means this one glues right here. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to glue this together. We're going to paint it, and then I'm going to do something different with the back side of it, you'll see, to make it look a little bit more finished. But I'm using wood glue because I am going to paint over this. And so the yellow of the glue won't matter, but I think it will give me a much stronger hold. I've just got this off camera where I can actually see what I'm doing to get the glue covering the area. And I'm going to watch this. I don't think I need to tape this. The directions say to tape it. I really don't feel that taping this is going to be necessary. So I'm going to, but I'll keep an eye on it. If it looks like it's pulling apart, I will tape. But we're going to leave this glue to dry until it's thoroughly dry, and then we can paint this with our trim color. All right, my glue is dry enough that we can go on. We are going to paint the sides. Let's see, I don't need to paint this side. I'm going to paint the front and this side. I'm not going to paint the back because we're going to do something a little different with the back once this paint is dry. But this is just that same trim paint that I've been using throughout the project. You could do different. You could trim your stairs out. There's a multitude of ways you could paint your stairs. But this is the side that's going on mine that's going to go towards the wall. When we go to put this in the dollhouse, I'm going to talk to you about why I orient the steps the way I do. I actually put mine in backwards from how the kit normally would have you put dollhouse steps in, and it's actually one of my pet peeves about dollhouses. So more on that in a few moments. So rather than bore you by talking at you while I am painting this, we've all painted things before, I am going to get a good coat of this same trim paint that we've been using on the surfaces that we'll show. And I may decide to put a second coat on when I come back. I'll let you know if that was the case or not. But until then, I'm going to turn the camera off and get painting. All right, this has 2 coats of paint. I think I'm actually going to do a minor sanding and put a 3rd coat on because these are still not looking as good as I want them to. So I'm going to go off camera and do all of that, and then I'll be back. All right, so I've got this all painted. Another time, I think there's 3 coats of white paint on here now. I'm happy with how it looks, and we'll only see it through the front door, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. But I do want to deal, and this side is going to be covered, so don't worry, we won't be able to see either side of this in the finished house. We will have a view of this side, however, because of how I'm putting the house together. But I don't want to put regular wallpaper on there. Instead, I want something thicker that will help support this, because this only has just that little tiny bit that's glued together. Right there is the seam. I don't want this to show, which I think it would if I used regular wallpaper. And also, I want to give this as much durability as I can, so I'm using this. What this is Canson watercolor paper. And it's a cold press watercolor paper, and it's 140 pound weight, which means it's really stiff. I mean, you can hear how stiff that is. what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the back side of my steps with a good generous coat of wallpaper paste. The same wallpaper gel we've been using. And then I'm going to lay this down. Let's see, I want that side out. Actually, no, I want that side out. And I'm going to put that down really tight. And I'm going to press that down. And I'm going to set that off to the side to dry. Once that's dry, I'll come back and we'll cut this right at the edges of the steps. So we'll be back when that's dry. All right, so the wallpaper paste is dry on here. So now I'm just going to take my knife and very carefully cut off the extra paper. So you see, it cuts really well. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get this cut free, and then we'll move over to the dollhouse and we'll start putting the steps in. All right, I want to add a stubby wall to the dollhouse next to the steps. It's not going to go all the way front to back. It's basically just to enclose the staircase. So I am going to attempt to cut this. I don't have a power saw. I'm going to attempt to cut this by hand. I'm going to do it off camera, but I wanted to let you know what was going on. So wish me luck, and I will see you when this is done. All right, so I was successful in cutting that down. I now have this piece, which is going to be a wall next to our steps, and I have this piece, which is going to go above where the door opening will be. At a future date, I'll put a door in. We're not going to worry about that today, or for a while. So I am going to go ahead and use the rest, what little I've got left of this. And I think it won't matter if I have a seam on the side. I'm only going to do one side with the white, and that's going to be the side that's going towards the steps. So I'm going to go ahead and get this covered in wallpaper, and when that's done, I'll be back and I'll show you how this looks, and hopefully by then we'll be ready to go start putting some stuff in the dollhouse. All right, before I glue the stairs in, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where and how I always put stairs in dollhouses. In every dollhouse I've ever built, I've changed this one thing. Even on the very first one, this is something I changed. The majority of dollhouse kits, in fact every kit I've ever seen, including this one, wants you to put the stairs in facing the back of the dollhouse. Personally, I hate that. That's one of my pet peeves. And I realize, you know, if you're making it for a kid, they're going to want to play with the doll going up and down the steps. That's not what my dollhouse is. My dollhouse is a display piece. It's treated as a piece of art. It is not going to be played with. And I want to look through the front door and see the stairs like you would in a real house. So, and this was a happy accident. I actually put in the top floor backwards, which was brought to my attention by a viewer. I had put it in that way because I knew where I wanted to put my stairs, and I didn't even think about the fact the kit had it at the other end. For me, it works better. I thought I was going to have to do some fancy angling like I normally do when I do this, because I always turn the stairs around. So we're going to glue them in here. When you look in the front door of the dollhouse, you'll see the stairs, just like in a real house. So that's why my stairs are not in correctly, air quotes, correctly. This is correctly for me because this looks like a real house. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue this set of stairs right here. And then after this glue sets up, we're going to put in the baseboard molding around it, and then we're going to put in our wall we created. So I'm going to use tacky glue in case the glue runs. I don't want to have to clean wallpaper or wood glue off of my wallpaper. Excuse me. So I'm going to do it this way. And I'm just putting some tacky glue on this, yes, right, on the side that's going to be against that wall. And a little on the bottom. And then we'll see if we have to tape it. All right, type that up. And now I think I'm going to turn the camera off so I can move to right where the camera is sitting. I'm going to wrap some tape around from here around the edge of the dollhouse just to make sure that keeps in really good close contact. Then I'm going to let this glue dry for 2 or 3 hours. Then I'll be back and we'll put in that molding and hopefully we'll get this wall in today. So I'll be right back. All right, I've taken the tape off the stairs and they're in fairly securely, and I have pre-cut my baseboard trim for that corner. So I'm going to glue those in. Hopefully I'm getting this in the right spot. Then we need to put the wall in. All right, there we go. Those are in nice and tight. So now let's get this wall in. I've got the wallpaper on the back side. I'm going to fit it in again just to make sure. Yep. So I am looking, yep, that's going to fit. And I think the only place I'm going to run glue is going to be on the edge of the steps. I don't want to drag glue around across the floor, and this should hold just fine. It's a really tight fit. Really hoping I'm not sticking my head right in front of the camera. All right. So I am using my finger to make sure I'm lined up with the bottom step, and I'm visually checking that I'm lined up at the top. And I'm going to grab behind me my level, hopefully, because I want to make sure, yes, it is straight up and down. So now that glue needs to dry, and then we are going to wallpaper this wall and put in, well, actually we're going to put a, oh, you can't see what I'm showing you. So there that is in. We're going to put a piece of wall right up here once this is dry, and then we'll wallpaper both of those pieces. So I'm going to let that glue dry, and then I'll be back. All right, this wall is set up enough that I can put in, I'm going to put in the piece that will eventually go above a future door. So I just cut a rectangle of this same wood. Remember, this was that divider. And I've covered it with the same wallpaper I used on the main walls in this room. And then I'm going to glue this here. My idea is to wrap the wallpaper around. That way it will kind of disguise that this is a separate piece. And I'm actually just going to use tacky glue to glue this in. And I may have to tape this. I'm not sure. I haven't. This portion is, I'm kind of making this up as I go. There we go. Put that in place and wrap around. And the wallpaper on this wall will cover this little piece that wraps around. And I'm going to have to work with this a little bit to get it blended in, but I need to move it around a bit. I need to get my head in where I can actually see what I'm doing and get that spot covered. But when this is all dry, I'll be back and we will wallpaper this wall. All right, I think this glue is probably dry enough we can go ahead and work. What I'm going to do, I do still have it taped. I'm going to leave that tape on overnight, so you won't see that tape off until the next video. I'm just going to kind of use a piece of sandpaper, kind of blend that piece in. Now, I have cut a piece of, this is the same wallpaper I used on the opposite wall of this room, and I'm going to wallpaper this wall with this. So I will need to turn the camera off while I get the wallpaper, the back of the wallpaper covered in wallpaper paste, and then I'll be back and we'll put this in. Alright, I've got this covered in wallpaper paste, and this wall, it's going to be really, really important that I get this all, yeah, it's right side up, all the way to that ceiling, because there's no ceiling paper wrapping down over the wall like there is on all the other walls. And I'm going to use this to kind of squeegee that on. And now I think I'm just going to go ahead. I've also pre-cut the baseboard trim for there. I'm not going to bother turning the baseboard trim around the corner because I'm going to be doing a door there later and in a future video. All right, let's get this on. And there we go. Whoops. All right. And there is our wall and our steps put in. So I'm going to let this dry before I can move on, but this is all we're going to do today. This wall I'm not going to put baseboard trim on yet, because like I said, eventually there is going to be a door in this opening. That's a future me problem, because this is not a standard door opening size. So we'll have, I've kind of already figured out how I'm going to do it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So I'm going to take some photos of what we did get done today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something. If you liked the video, please push the like button. If you haven't subscribed and would like to continue to see my videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload, and join us over on Facebook. We talk a lot over there. Also, be sure and check the blog post. Links to the blog post are always in the description box so that you can see more photos and hear, kind of read what my thought process was. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.